name is Muskan and today I'm going to show you how I make my very easy eggless strawberry cake. This cake comes together in very less time. You'll see that the ingredients that I'm using in this recipe are very simple and very easily available as well. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video so that you get more videos, more recipes for you to try at home. This really supports my channel as well. Okay, so this cake will turn out so moist and so fluffy as you can see in this video. When I'm pressing it down, it shows how moist it is and it's very easy to make. All you need is some curd and sugar first. You mix it really well until the sugar is dissolved completely. And then you add baking powder, you add baking soda and you mix it and you let it rest for about 2 minutes until it is frothy. And make sure the curd or the yogurt is of room temperature. Then you add vanilla extract, salt and oil. You mix it really well. Sift in the flour and you mix until there are no lumps in the batter. And then you also have to use a spatula so that everything is mixed really well. And while this was going on, I had already put my oven to be preheated at 180 degrees Celsius. And you also have to grease your baking tin with oil or butter like I'm doing in this video. Then add your cake batter into it and bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes or until it is cooked through. Take a knife and loosen the edges and put a plate on it and it'll come off very easily, and you can see that this is so moist and so soft, and this is going to taste amazing as well. Try it and you'll see what I mean. And then you have to finely chop some strawberries. Make sure to save some for decoration later. Alright, now I'm gonna use some non-dairy whipping cream. I'm using the brand Rich and you can use Tropolite or some other brand as well. It has to be cold, it has to be chilled, but it should not have any ice crystals. Start by whipping on low speed first. You're gonna have to do it for 3 minutes and then you increase the speed to the highest for about 2 minutes. If you're doing this in the summer months, make sure that your bowl is cool as well. Okay, now I have all my elements ready. I have my cake ready, strawberries and whipped cream. Now I'm gonna take a serrated knife. You can see this is a serrated knife if you don't know already. And I'm also gonna use a home knife that is also serrated. I mean, it's just a domestic, normal knife that you get in the market. And then I'm also taking a palette knife. This is very important. Please do not skip these things if you're making a cake. And you also need a cake base and a turntable. Alright, now I'm gonna cut off the dome top of the cake. As you can see that this cake is not very domed, but I still did it because it's very important. Do not skip it. Then I'm marking 2 lines on the cake so that I can divide the cake equally in order to fill it. And as you can see that I'm like slightly cutting the cake off. I'm not gonna cut it off entirely on the first go so that I have a straight line, and then I'm going in with the knife, and you have to make sure that the knife is straight throughout. That is how you'll achieve even layers and the cake is going to turn out very nice and straight. You can see this layer is very smooth and very evenly cut. This is very, very important. Please be very careful at this point. Then I'm just using my, normal knife that is available at home, which is serrated. It has to be serrated, very important. And I'm going to show you how I cut it. The same procedure just with this knife. And you can see that this layer is also very straight. This is very, very important. Now I'm going to assemble the cake. Alright, I'm going to put the cake base on a turntable and I'm adding some whipped cream on top so that the cake sticks to the base. And then I'm adding 1 layer of cake, adding some water, and I'm gonna add a little bit of whipped cream because I'm not a huge fan of a lot of cream in my cake, especially if it's non-dairy. And you can see that I'm pushing the whipped cream to the edges so that I get some room for filling, and the filling will not come off the cake because there's whipped cream holding it. And now I'm just adding the chopped strawberries. These are fresh strawberries. I'm pressing it down. I'm adding a little more whipped cream on top so that the next layer also sticks to it, and adding a little bit of water, a little bit of whipped cream, and I'm repeating the same procedure. Make sure to push the whipped cream to the edges so that you have room for filling again, and so that the filling doesn't come out of the cake. Now for the final layer of cake, I'm adding the water again, and this time I'm going to use a lot of whipped cream. This is just to finally cover the cake really well, and you'll see at the end that I still don't use a lot of whipped cream on my cake because I don't really mind that little bit of naked cake look on my cakes. But like if you do, you can definitely make sure to use more whipped cream so that your cake is completely covered. Although it doesn't really matter, especially if you're baking this at home for your family members. And you can see that on top I've covered it entirely, and on the edges as well I'm applying some whipped cream. You have to press the whipped cream on the cake very gently, and then I'm going to use my palette knife to slide the whipped cream off of the cake. And I'm not using my hand, I'm just turning the table more compared to using my hand to slide it down so that there's more cleanliness. See, since this cake has very less equipment and easily available things, I won't be using a scraper for this cake. I'm just using this palette knife, so the results might not turn out as well as they would with a scraper. But if you do have a scraper at home, go ahead and use it. You can always though make a cake with just a palette knife like I'm doing in this video. And in order to get really nice edges, you're gonna wanna use a palette knife on the sides, and then take a palette knife, and with the help of a feather touch, a very nice and light touch, you're gonna create the edges like I am doing right now. And guys, it doesn't really matter if the cake is not perfect, because as you can see I'm already going to cover it with strawberries and a little more whipped cream. I'm gonna be using a star tip nozzle and a piping bag. If you don't have it, you can just not use it, but like I do have it at home, and I decided to just go with a very simple look for this cake, and this turns out so cute. You can see that the knife just slides into it very easily. That is how moist and soft it is. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.